Hi there, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Total investments in the oil and gas sector are expected to witness significant increase at the end of the year. That is according to data covering investments in the oil sector over the past 3 years. In the Ghana Statistical Service's third quarter report, the data shows that investments in the sector may reach some $3 billion by the close of this month. Geography has details.
These are investments directed by the various oil and gas firms in the country into exploration, appraisal, and content studies. The rest are field development and oil and gas production. From the data, about $740 million have been sunk into exploration. Field development should be about $1.2 billion, while total production was about $1.1 billion. The $3.1 billion that should be realized is about 18% jump from what was realized in 2018. The release of this data is coming at a time that the third quarter GDP estimates show that the oil and gas sector's contribution to economic activities is going up significantly. The figures show that it went up by some 17.5%, the highest growth under mining and quarry sector, which is captured on the industry. Total crude production for the third quarter of this year went up significantly to hit 2.2 million barrels.
The Finance Minister in the presentation of the 2020 budget disclosed government will raise up to $3 billion in Eurobonds in 2020. It has been disclosed recently that the country will embark on a roadshow in the first quarter of next year. Two issues that come up during the nation's international borrowing are that of timing and the cost at which we will borrow. Investment analyst Michael Kobler has been speaking to that on the business edition of PM Express.
Typically, the election year, the first 6 months is the active period. If you are not able to engage or do anything meaningful within the first 6 months of the election year, you've lost it. So in terms of timing, I mean, the first quarter, early second quarter will be perfect timing. In terms of pricing, it will largely depend on our track record. I mean, you spoke about transparency the last election. How have we deployed the funds that we borrowed in the last election, the $3 billion? What did we tell investors we were going to use the money for, and what have we used it for? You'll be surprised. I mean, we sit here in this country, but the investors out there know a lot more than what we do. And they follow and track these things to the letter. So you go on a typical roadshow, and I was privileged to be in the first and second roadshow in this country, and they ask you very niggling questions. I mean, very down to the detail, and you'll be surprised. They will expose your nakedness to you. I mean, if you had said anything in your prospectus which is not the truth, you'll be found out. I mean, these guys are very smart investors. They're very shrewd, and they engage different countries. So what I'll say is that all over Africa, elections bring some kinds of uncertainty because of the track record that we have. And we always say we'll stick to fiscal discipline. We don't. We will not overspend. We overblow the budget. Our deficits are high and all that. So investors will generally be wary of these sentiments. And then based on all the issues around the last borrowing and how it has been deployed, investors will take a decision on how to price the bond.
Meanwhile, economist Godfrey Bokwe has some advice for government as we inch closer to the 2020 elections. Election years have been marred by what some describe as overspending with dire consequences for the economy. Professor Bokwe believes this is the time government must prove it is fiscally disciplined, especially as we have passed a fiscal responsibility law.
I'll call on government and say that, you know what, let's just use next year to prove all of us that, yes, that you know what, we will not make the mistakes that we have made in the time past. We will maintain fiscal discipline. Because when you read across the international community and even from the domestic market, the fear is whether government will maintain fiscal discipline. Okay. That we will not spend in excess of the projected, we will not do so many off-budget expenditures. And those off-budget expenditures usually do not go to enhance the productive asset of the economy. They are politically motivated.
Okay.
And then also, so many things we do not explore efficiency. We don't have fiscal space. The little we have, let's make sure that we put the little money in the areas that can generate the most benefit for all of us.
Okay.
That's your business update. Sports is up next. Stay tuned.